Welcome to Professional Sports Coaching for Business. This program takes the proven best practices from professional sports coaching that are transferable to business and teaches you how to use them in your own business to achieve dramatic bottom-line results. Although the program is modeled after sports coaching, you don't have to be a sports fanatic or have ever played sports to relate to the use of sports coaching as a model.
First, let's establish the importance of performance coaching. Why do we even want it? Every company we speak to, when we ask them this question, if there's one thing that management could do better, one thing that would make a huge difference, what is it? They always say coaching. We never get any other answer. It's like the definitive thing that we want improvement on. Yet, you've all had coaching programs. There's no question about it. People have been trained. People have had upskilling, but yet we see inconsistency at times. We don't see executional excellence every time as we want it. The top 10% of performers in just about any industry outperform the bottom 10% in the same line of business and the same job family by 800%, 8 times difference. Yet they're doing the same thing, same products, same pricing, same market, same brand. The difference is the people. It makes an absolutely huge difference. This gap may be closed through excellence in coaching. That's what we're going for. Yet, what's the reality here? How many of you have had coaching programs in the past? Okay? Why hasn't traditional coaching worked? And what's really going on out there? People have been trying to do better in coaching, so let's see why current coaching efforts have really been relatively ineffective. This is the big one. Numbers and plans coaching versus observations and skills coaching. This is gigantic. The model we're using is a tachometer. In a car, a tachometer shows revolutions per minute. And I think most of you know, if the needle is too far to the left, the car could stall out. It doesn't have enough power. On the other hand, if you go too far to the right, it could burn out because you burn out the engine. So we need to find, as we say in sports, the sweet spot, head of a golf club or a tennis racket, where it's just right. What has been going on in traditional coaching? An over-focus on numbers and plans coaching. That's what's going on. What is your typical coaching session? You sit down and you say, here was your goals, here's where you are, what are you going to do about it? That's your average coaching session. Now that could take a minute or an hour, but that's where it really comes out. It's a discussion. The discussion isn't enough. Let me give you a sports analogy. Have any of you ever paid a coach to try to get you better at something? Tennis, golf, anything. Okay, how would you feel about it if this is what the coach did? They brought out a bucket of golf balls, and you're ready to learn how to drive better because your drives have been going into the woods, they've been going into the rough, you've been in sand traps, you want it straight down the middle, 250, 300 yards. And they bring out a bucket of balls and say, okay, coach, what are we going to do? He says, don't worry. What I want you to do, there's 200 balls in that bucket. I want you to take each ball out and hit 200 times. And then the coach starts walking away. And you say to him, where are you going? He says, I'm going to the clubhouse to have a drink. He says, but wait a minute, aren't you supposed to coach me? No. You hit the 200 balls, and then I'll come back and you tell me how you did. That's coaching in business today. That's coaching in financial services. That's exactly what you're doing. You ask them, what are the numbers? What are the stats? And then you talk about it. Nobody watches. In sports, it's insane. No one would even think of that. What would you expect from a sports coach? They stay there, they watch you hit the ball, observe, and then they tell you how to fix your skills and do better. This is so blatantly obvious, it is not what's going on. Now, one of the problems what we see very commonly with a skill such as profiling, for example, is a manager, a coach will sit down and listen to them analyze needs of a client. And let's say it's fair, but the manager say that's pretty good because they're so grateful they're doing anything at all. Where there might be 15 steps, they did 6, they say it's good. You're giving the wrong message. What we need to do is swing the needle, not completely away from numbers and plans. We need that as well, as we will see, but we need to swing it to observations and skills. If we don't do that, skills will simply not improve. Here's another tachometer that is the second big problem that goes on. I am for interactive coaching, and you'll see that's critical, and I'm for collaboration, and I'm in for reasonable empowerment working with people. But where's the problem right now in coaching and business? An over-focus on collaborative coaching and motivation, which means basically, here's the situation. We go back to the golf driving range, and the coach comes back out, and says to the player, you, because you paid for this lesson, well, what do you think you did wrong? Well, I don't know. Okay, think about it, and we'll meet again next week. That's what's going on. How can you ask the person what they think is wrong when they don't have a mirror of themselves? That's what you're supposed to do. The object of coaching is to give advice. Now, we believe in collaboration. We want to work together. We want them to participate. You'll see that's part of the process. That is part of professional sports coaching. But right now, the needle is way over to collaborative coaching and motivation. What do I mean by motivation? Some people confuse motivating people with coaching. It's part of coaching, but it isn't coaching. All you're doing is getting people excited. But all they could do is more of what they're already doing, which might be mediocre. So if you get somebody to do something mediocre with more energy, they're still mediocre. What do you really want from a coach? You want advice. You want them to actually tell you how to do better. That's what value-added coaching is. That's what professional sports coaching for business is. It is not ignoring collaboration. That's part of it. It's not ignoring motivation, but it's swinging the needle. If we go too far, you lose people. They're not going to respond. They're not going to feel they can do it. So again, remember, if the needle swings too far to the right, you burn out the engine. Too far to the left, you stall out the engine. Right now, the engine is stalling out because too much numbers and plans, too much collaborative and motivation, not enough observation, skill building, and advice. Next, what is professional sports coaching for business, which we will now call sports coaching, okay? It is transferable best practices. Let me repeat that. Transferable best practices from professional sports coaching that do apply to business coaching. Why professional sports coaching? Why would I go with amateur sports coaching? It's a bad title. Professional sports coaching is because they're the best. So although we've looked at all levels of sports, this is about professional sports coaching. It is the ultimate form of sports coaching. It works in every culture. It's worked throughout all of history. It works in every sport, and everybody's familiar with it. Every coaching session has to have an outcome in mind. It isn't just general coaching. General coaching doesn't go anywhere. Because I've done that, I expect a behavior change and results should go up. Everything links, and the person who's the recipient of the coaching has to understand how it links, or it's boring, not motivational, and they'll just be looking at their watch thinking, what can I get out of this, and go back to work. People should be looking forward to your coaching sessions. They should be saying, rather than whatever they're doing, I want it because you help me to generate better revenues. You help me to be a better person. You help me to live up to my potential. That's the key.